And from South Plains Lanes in Lubbock, Texas, this is the Stepladder Finals of the 2019 Lubbock Sports Shootout presented by Ebonite. I am Phil Bryler, with me PBA Hall of Famer Chris Barnes. And Chris, this is not exactly the easiest pair on the PBA Tour to win a championship on 19 and 20.
No, this can be a tricky pair at times, and the players have both an 8-game round robin, and now on freshly dressed lanes again, so kind of a start over. Some players they were a little trickier this last match play round, and so there's a little guessing going on right now at the last minute of practice.
And we are getting the lanes ready to go. Anthony Lavery-Spahr, number 4 seed, battling EJ Tackett, the 3 seed in this event. Tackett fell back from the lead in the position round game. And Anthony Lavery-Spahr needed a big double in the 10th frame of his position round match against Francois Lavoie to get into the number 4 spot. And they're just finishing up the last couple of shots of practice here, Chris, on the 44-foot Billy Hardwick pattern. And it was a tricky pattern all weekend long here in Lubbock.
Yeah, I mean, can be a pretty tricky building anyway. They've replaced a lot of panels here, and it's kept it looking nice, but it does make it tough as you go across the building. There's some of the panels are new, and some of them are older, and so, when you add that and all the rev rate that's in the field, there are certainly some pairs that got better than others.
Yeah, I mean, this morning watching you and a few other players, the other defending champion from this past 12 months here in Lubbock, Dick Allen, you guys are on the same pair this morning. There were quite a few times you guys were just kind of throwing your hands up and going, what's going on here?
Yeah, I committed to playing the gutter a little bit, and I was able to control the pocket, but the scores were a little higher, actually, this morning than anticipated. And from in, they were pretty good. And a little bit of slowdown in the middle, but guys got them, and then when they came around to match play, then they did flatten out considerably. And EJ shot 130 the very first game in match play today, got himself in peril, and then came out and shot like 980, I think, the next 4, and moved out to the gutter. And so I anticipate EJ probably will move back to the gutter, but it's a little bit unknown for him too after another strip and run.
So Lavery-Spahr, Tackett, this opening match winner will take on Jakob Butturff. Butturff looking to win for the second time in 4 years here in Lubbock. And then our top seed, what a run Stu Williams had through the last part of match play. Well, and he likes this pair.
Even this morning, he didn't get in by a whole lot in qualifying yesterday and put a huge run on this morning and crawled himself all the way up into the top 8, I believe. Put a big number on him, and it continued on, really struggled in the 10th frames. Otherwise, he would have led by a monstrous amount.
And we will see a couple of different ways to play this pattern right now in this opening match with Lavery-Spahr and Tackett.
Anthony opting for a honey badger infused. It's a new ball from the company I'm with, 900 Global. A 70% resin, 30% urethane, trying to get some of that urethane shape, a little more pop. I believe EJ will also be throwing the tank, which is Moda's version of a kind of a hybrid urethane ball.
Always want to start with that opening spare. Don't want to give an opponent an opening right off the mark. Tackett averaged 225 for the event. His 22 games, and he starts with a strike using that outside portion of the lane.
And actually, I don't think he's going with the tank, the hybrid.
Get a look here at what's coming off there.
Ball, yeah, he's actually using, I believe.
Looks like it's got that villain logo on it.
There you go. I think that's one of their new balls too. And so he's trapping it and controlling the shape with his hand, going more end over end, and not allowing that massive rev rate to make it go sideways.
Tackett's second frame. Oh, and the trip on the 4-9.
it's never a good break for any of EJ's opponents when he gets a little break there and gets a chance to get comfortable. Great field player, does a great job of managing the lane, but he does a lot of it with feel, so his first opening shots are huge.
Lavery-Spahr 7-1 in match play. Forced to be reckoned with today. And you see why right there.
Pulled extremely well in the middle to make his run up into the step ladder, then struggled a little bit as this hybrid urethane ball started to wiggle down lane, and was able to come up with a big 4-bagger, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th to get around Kyle Troop in the very last frame to make the television show. See another flat 10 for Anthony on this left lane, and this is the traditional TV pair for the Lubbock Tour stops. And so last year myself, I started at this right lane or left lane. Typically does hook more, but it's a little tighter down lane as well. And so as they go through more matches, if somebody goes up through the ladder, I think you'll see a little bit more transition on that left lane front to back than you do on the right lane.
So is that going to make the lane play hook more in the front and tighter in the back quicker?
That's basically what it is right now.
Okay.
Right now the back end's still fresh enough that overall there's still just more hook, but
oh, how about that?
I have it in my notes that I had it as hooking more at the beginning and it was tighter by the time we finished. For the right lane, it kept coming off the spot that we built to the right. And ironically, we played them very similar to this, even though the pattern was a couple feet shorter last year. In that little in-between zone, that 8, 9, 10, kind of seems like it might be a little bit of no man's land, but that played pretty well last year too, as the pattern kept flattening out.
Tackett, front 3.
Great start for him. Ooh.
Talk about trust over the gutter. Wow. Incredible shot there by Tackett for the front 4.
Well, if there's anything that'll loosen up your swing there, he strips out the 4, moves a little left, misses right, the dreaded double cross, and it gets back to flush. So he's in really good shape moving forward here.
The more that people are seeing this today where they're going, I hear it's a 40-foot pattern. These guys usually are not on the gutter because of that. Why are they able to play the gutter like EJ is right there?
Well, because there's shape. And there's early hook out there. You can use that. Plus, there's a lot of surface friction in the track, and in this place, actually a little right of what would normally be the track. The house shot here has been a little further right. Jimbo Evans of Prider, a very good bowler in his own right, professional bowler, and a long-time regional player as well. And so the house shot's it's a little further right than you see in a lot of places. It's a little slicker than a lot of places. And so instead of being all the wear at 12, 13, 14, there's some wear more at 7, 8, 9 here than there is in a lot of places.
So Lavery-Spahr taking one of his 2 re-racks allowed per game. Not a bad way to do it. Yeah, if you don't like the spot, that's one thing. If you want to get a little more time, not a bad way to do it either.
Half psychological after a couple of flat 10s. He's 2 moves here. You can move a little bit right with your feet, or you can just catch it harder. Anthony, super high rev rate, big time strike player. He'll probably just go after it a little bit more and be more aggressive with it.
That quick step into the slide and high. That's the overcorrection. Was that a hand? Just too much?
No, that's actually just out of time. He got a little quick and got over the top. And by over the top, I mean his head got a little too far out in front of him. Shoulder rotates inside, and that's just inside a target.
Okay.
Now he's in big trouble.
There's so many ways to throw a shot that isn't 100% out here on tour. How you guys keep it together shot after shot after shot is just amazing. And the chop is a big hole, 86 in the 5th for Lavery-Spahr. And
these TV step ladders, I mean, they go by so fast.
Do you remember your first one?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I led in Albuquerque. Really hard that week, and I put all of about 163 on them.
Oh. Well, there's a front five, and not only is FloBowling the PBA, I know it's a little early for this, but Jimbo Evans announced it beforehand. FloBowling PBA offer $1,000 for a perfect game during a FloBowling USBC Cup Tour Championship match. But also Jimbo Evans is putting up another $500 today for $300 during this championship round. A little extra bonus money out there for the players.
Nobody ever minds that. And Jimbo is one of the best proprietors we have out here. He's been a huge supporter of the PBA.
Runt half for Tackett.
And we got one where it overhooked. We got one to the right of target, and that one was perfect, and they've all ended up in a pretty good place.
And now it's mandatory strike mode for Lavery-Spahr this game.
Yeah, with EJ already on 240 pace, and the max score that Anthony can get to is 236. He really can't afford anything but strikes from here on. We saw him do this a lot, actually. As you went pair to pair, they are tricky, and where he separated himself out was the last 5 frames of every game. He threw tons of strings to get to 230, to get to 220, to get to 240, and really, that's where he made his move, was in the back half.
You had a couple of those earlier today, back 5 in the first couple of games of Cashers round, but it wasn't the same result, unfortunately.
No, a little slower starts.
Pair to pair, as you said. Different here, and now he finally gets the riddle of lane 19 figured out.
Yeah, after 2 really good shots, he really only had the 1 bad shot. He just followed up with an open, but unfortunately, one of the biggest differences between that and the World Bowling scoring format is that strings matter so much more here than they do in that format, and you know, he's a huge deficit now.
Front 6 for Tackett. Oh, tomahawk that 4 from behind. And there's a big smile on EJ's face on the way back for a minute.
And rolled around that one just a little.
Best finish this year for Tackett, second to Jason Belmonte. And the string ends.
Yeah, I really thought if the last one creeped high on him, he would really tumble that next one and make sure that it didn't overhook, but it also came off that spot a little hard, so they may already be creating a little bit of breakdown in the front of the lane.
So Lavery-Spahr maximum for Lavery-Spahr 236. Tackett can just spare out and be in the 250s. Oh. That's just a soul ripper 7 there.
Well, as much as Anthony strikes, this will not be his last step ladder, so you might as well not waste any extra strikes now. So they would be for naught. But it's the one thing with the FloBowling tour that we have, the summer series, is that you basically have a half-hour turnaround from your last shot, which he threw a back 4 to make this step ladder, and a huge swing of emotion there, and then in 2 shots he's basically down 40 pins and in big trouble.
Well, and then you got to look at the big picture here for this USBC Cup series of events. 9 PBA Tour titles on the line in total. And there's a lot of money out there for the top 5 and overall points for the USBC Cup. And if you're in the top 8, you get that invite to Austin in September for the FloBowling ATX invite. And you also get that invite to go to China, expenses paid, to bowl the inaugural China Tiger Cup. So there's a lot going on for all of you players out here this USBC Cup season.
Pretty exciting. It's really been a long time since we've had a real full season kind of thing where there's this many titles on the line again, and this many added bonuses for really performing well throughout the year. There's a lot of added incentive to be at all the stops and to play well in all of them.
Well, there's the man that's going to advance, and you talk about a couple of the hottest hands in bowling. The last 2 years, that's going to be Jakob Butturff and EJ Tackett, and we'll be back with that second stepladder match, semifinal stepladder match, after Butturff gets his practice balls.
Though, a couple of big sets of the Bowler's Journal, and now obviously being the lone left-hander in the finals today, and then all the way up through the stepladder. That shot on the left lane looked like he got a little further left than he anticipated, and it made it back, much like when EJ did that in the second frame, or in the fourth frame the first time around. That's normally not good news for their opponents.
Tackett, third frame, opening double. Took out Lavery-Spahr, 279, 194, and a 10-pin for Tackett.
Boy, and just like Anthony in game one, EJ having a little trouble getting the 10-pin out on lane, or the corner pins basically on lane 19 there on the left lane. I liked his adjustment there. The last time it got early and a little bit long, came in behind it. That time he got it to the right quicker, so he get it to stand up and then kind of use that 44 feet as a little bit more of hold, and then lift the hard ringer. Jakob up by 10, a chance to increase his lead to 20.
There it is, and he's looking tough to stop right now.
10 straight back right there. That was a no-doubter.
And make it 4 in a row. Gee, that one, when it started making a turn in the pattern at about 30 feet, I mean, because it's urethane, and you just watch that thing just turn and set.
Yeah, and that was considerably in from the last shot on that lane. He's got that lane dialed in, which is why he chose to bowl the even-numbered frames, including the 10th on that one, I'm sure.
Tackett winner here in 2015 for his first PBA Tour title. He's added 11 more to that since then, and no give up in that man for sure. But probably a move on that lane after that shot.
Yeah, trip 4 is normally anywhere from as little as a half to some guys will move as much as 2 off of that. EJ being where he's at right now with his hand, where he's controlling the shape of it, will probably be about half that. I would say probably move a board next time. This is the trick right here. What's he do to get this one to strike?
Looks left.
It's an excellent call. I think he went left and tried to hit it harder, but he got it. He went left and missed. Got it in just a little bit. It was like in and long. Tough thing to explain because it's still really the trajectory is right. It's slight. So little in, and it gets 2 or 3 feet longer down the lane, and he missed the friction spot on the front.
That's weird because I was thinking friction in the back on that point in time, but you're saying it's friction in the front.
Well, with 44 feet, you're not going to hook it a ton down lane. You have to get it started in that 20, 25, 30. If it's not starting by then, you're in a little bit of trouble. It'll do what that did.
Okay.
It picked up a little in the front, but then it pushed for the next 20 feet. It got down to 40, 42 feet. And by then, the pattern's just too long. It doesn't make up the hill. That's in.
It hits 10 back.
Yeah, that's big trouble for EJ now. I mean, you swap names on the back, but repeating the process. It's one guy's getting comfortable and getting one of those in-between shots that strikes and carries, and then they get loose and it's on. Whereas EJ's made a couple of really good shots that didn't strike, then he starts manipulating things trying to make it strike, and then he misses the pocket.
Looking for the front half. There it is. And if you're Stu Williams on that practice pair right now, you got to be thinking it's going to take 250 to win today.
I would imagine, and Stu's very familiar with Jakob. Jacob's still got a little work left to do. EJ's not done yet. Still got a possible 250.
And there you see the form that won the Oklahoma Open earlier this year along with the USBC Masters.
Doesn't seem to miss being in the Southern Heartland much.
That was a miss to the Southern Heartland right there for Tackett. It's half.
Yeah, and there's some stuff going on like we talked about. I think that left lane is getting a little tighter down lane, and it's affecting some of the shots on the right lane where you start trying to create some shape on a lane that doesn't need any help. My history on this pair is this right lane continues to hook down lane and comes off it pretty good. You can keep moving left off of it. The right lane, however, hooks in the front and feels like it plays tighter down lane.
And a big deficit now, and nothing but strikes needed for Tackett from here on out to have any chance.
See his brother Zach there in the back, who bowled this week.
Ironic part is his fiancée Natalie's got a better than front row seat right now because she's running one of our cameras for us here on FloBowling this week. This one right there. Can't exactly be easy having a partner that close to you while you're bowling.
See, now he's switched to an Octane ball that they have had a lot of success with this last season, and you see that overhooked, looking for a little bit more shape on that left lane, and that's what you saw a lot of players. I mean, it wasn't that players shot a lot of 2-0s. It was the bad game was 160 a lot in this building, and how quickly that changed from making a run at 300. Just 10 frames to go to really gonna have to strike out now to shoot 200.
For Tackett, is he just running into his own carry down, opening up the lane, that type of thing?
There's a little bit of that. Anthony throwing some urethane. Well, now Jakob off the string after the front six, but comfortably ahead in this match. Yeah, you have Anthony throwing a little bit of urethane from a little bit left of him. You know, with EJ's rev rate, it does peel off the front of the lane pretty quick, especially when you're throwing some balls with some surface like he is.
And Butturff, a busy month of June coming up yet in July, because in July he's going to be representing the United States at the Pan Am Games in that prestigious competition.
A super cool thing to go to. It's such a big event and such a different atmosphere all the way around with the sports and the different things that are involved.
It's the closest thing as a player that you have to a true Olympic experience right now.
Yeah, and that's basically what it is. It's an Olympic experience for our zone, the American zone. But and it is a monster. I got to go 8 years ago to Mexico, and a lot more than 8 years ago to Buenos Aires in 1995, and experiences I'll never forget, and something that I think Jakob will really enjoy.
So Tackett, most he's got here is 201. This one's over, and
it's crazy that somebody whose rev rate is, I mean, he's not getting it all, so he's only 550 or so down there right now. That their ball goes from mowing through and sending them everywhere to flat 10s with little chance of anything picking him up. His ball went from looking like his to mine in about 15 minutes. Thing you do see here, you do tend to see the same players bowl well here in multiple years. Jakob's been in the finals now a couple of different times. EJ's been in the finals here 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, it's 3 times in the last 5 years for EJ and 3 times in the last 4 years for Butturff.
I've won here a couple of times over the years. One of them was a regular regional. AJ Johnson seems to make the finals every year here.
Doesn't seem too concerned about that 7-pin for the moment.
No, and again, the only issue he's going to have is he has to follow himself a little bit, and you know, it's not a high volume pattern. It's 44 feet, but it's only, I believe it's 24 mils, and so it not only breaks down a little bit in the front quick, but it already plays kind of flat front to back, so small changes make it feel like it's really tight down lane. And whether that's friction in the front or carry down with the urethane balls, they're both in play. You know, how he manages that, whether it's with speed or with hand, will be the difference in what kind of game he can put up against Stu.
And a great toss there by Butturff. And he'll advance against Stu Williams. And Stu's loved this pair all day. He's got a couple of big games on it to get to the one spot. He had a big game during match play on it. He had a big game during Cashier's round. He's my prohibitive favorite right now. I hate to say it. It's up to Jakob to beat him.
Well, as opposed to the other two guys who played in yesterday and they played in this morning in the Cashier's round, but when they got to match play, they both moved to the right and then stayed there for the stepladder. Stu played in the whole time and didn't hit him really hard yesterday in qualifying, but bowled okay. And then this morning hit him hard, and then when everybody else struggled, his speed control and his ability to throw it slower than most players really served him well, and he was able to run right to the top when most players fell out that were playing in. And now he gets some strikes, of course.
So our championship match coming up, Jakob Butturff versus our top seed Stu Williams. Stu's going to get some practice. We'll be back with that championship match momentarily.
Have a nice round of applause for EJ Tackett.
And Stu Williams during practice here, getting his final couple of practice shots in. And Stu, you won last year in Tulsa during the FloBowling Fall Swing. But you look at before that, it was a long time before that, back in the 11-12 season with the Viper Open. Only 2 titles for Stu, 6 for Butturff in his short career. The pressure's really got to be on Stu on this one a little bit more.
Well, there's limited opportunities, and as you're, at the beginning and you're starting to collect titles, there's certainly always a lot of adrenaline when you are trying to bowl for a title. And one of the hardest things to do when all that adrenaline's going is to throw it super slow, which is what he has to do from in. As we're watching him practice here, the balls that he was throwing earlier were not hooking enough. He's gone to, it looks like, the new Supersonic. That's a pretty medium strong cover with a really low RG ball. So he's had to ball up a little bit to get it to hook as much as he wanted. He had a little 210 look going on there because none of the players actually played in at all, and so there's been very little play to help him and where he's playing so far.
Is there, what trick would somebody like Stu do to make sure that they stay slow with the shot out of the hand without being tentative? That's a fine line.
Yeah, and generally speaking, he uses a lot of pace with his feet to control that, which is what a lot of players do. And then how you walk and how you do everything. Because when I want to throw it slow, I'm going to walk slower. The music going through my head, whatever's going through there, is a little softer pace. It's not going to be a super aggressive, fast song going through my head. And the other thing really is you got to breathe enough and to really get your heart rate settled so that you don't get overamped. But there's a little bit of subtext going on here. I mean, these guys had bowled together when Stu lived in Phoenix. They bowled around each other a lot. Jakob has made a lot of finals with some mixed results in those finals. And so, they all have a little bit of things going on back and forth. And
ever since we got here on Friday, it's been a lot of bowling, great prize fund. Let's cheer these two champions on for the final game.
As you hear Pete McCordick lead off this tremendous final.
And I mean, take a look at this crowd. This crowd in Lubbock been out all weekend, rocking and rolling, and you see them packing the bleachers here. And there's more bleachers going back behind our camera there.
It's only about half, yeah.
They love the PBA when they come to town. You mentioned before the Pro-Ams are phenomenal here.
Yeah, Pro-Ams are great here. Jimbo Evans and his staff, they do a really nice job. We've been coming here for a long time. It's been one of the premier stops in the Southwest region for a long time, and now it's become a tour stop. They've hosted a PWBA stop as well they've just been a tremendous supporter of bowling, period, and great to be back. The place is near and dear to my heart for multiple reasons, and winning was a kicker, but but really it's always great to be here.
Butturff getting the lead off. Stu Williams deciding if he's going to finish on lane 19. Is it more lane choice for Stu, or just put the pressure on the kid?
A little of both. I think he wants him to have to finish if it comes to that, but he also had great ball reaction on the left lane in the first match, and Stu's reaction on the right lane, that seemed to be the tighter of the lanes for him down lane, which he does not want.
And here's our first shot for score in the Stepladder for Stu.
Firm.
He's not happy with something. I don't know if it was a person to his right or a noise that was made.
Huh.
He just kind of gave an insta look to his right there.
Yeah, back where we are, we're kind of blocked off from with all the crowd in front of us. Not sure what happened over there.
Well, you got to give it a bounce here. How about that? That's the way to show the crowd back.
I'm sure we'll get some top-notch investigative reporting from Lucas Wiseman. He'll let us know what happened.
He meerkatted up there, and he tried to look and see what was going on. He couldn't see over the crowd.
Meerkat.
So,
I don't know. I thought honestly he was just a little fast.
yeah, and there's still, there was another look to the right there, kind of right in behind. So I don't know if there's some fans there or maybe Butturff fans. I don't know. Well, the best way to shut up your detractors is to throw strikes, and that's not it.
Speed-wise, much better. Direction, not so good. So we've had a little of both. We had one on target, a little firm. We had one a little slow, but he got it to the right, and that doesn't have any chance at this stage. Maybe 3-4 games in, perhaps, but this is an easy spare when you can't leave it. If you can leave it, it becomes infinitely tougher.
But Stu now, he could be looking at a 20-plus spin deficit by the time he steps up in the third frame if Butturff repeats what he did in game against E.J. Tackett. Solid toss, but the flat 7.
Well, and right there, that's what we've seen been the difference is every player so far has had a little bit of trouble knocking out the corners on one lane, and that's just 44 feet. The pattern's 2 feet, 3 feet shorter. Those get snapped out of there by these big rev rates, and they're no problem. But
is that a urethane 7 for Butturff? I mean, is that carry down that he's made that?
A combination of that and just the length of the pattern. There's only 16 feet after the end of the pattern for the ball to really get up the hill, and so as the lane starts to pick up more in the front, get a little tighter down lane, and it definitely will throwing urethane. He'll have to fight some of that. Good news for him is his superpower is basically getting to make any ball hook, and so he likes it when he can get after it as much as he wants.
And how about that?
Which is what you see there. The one thing he's really struggled on is when the lanes really hook, or when they hook a lot in the front, and the ball hooks early, that's what makes him uncomfortable. So on this longer pattern, not so bad. He can throw a little slow. He can actually, with all those double jointed hinges that he's got, can really maximize his rev rate. Important for Stu now to get a couple of really good shots off his hand here.
Stu recently relocated to Texas with his wife Tina, living in the Austin area, and that was towards his ball rep. He's just not happy with the reaction right now, apparently.
And it looked he was just slightly quick to me again. There's a look when Stu really has it going where he is super solid. His head is very steady, and that time he was a little bit up in front, and on his toes a little, which means you're going to miss-hit it just slightly.
So Stu down 3. But can put the pressure on Butturff. If you can double here in the 4th.
Hook. Wow. Well, he's just playing fool because that was a good shot. He thinks it was a good shot. And
it wasn't that hard to do today.
No, and that's the difference. The bad pairs from him, that was the thing. It was so easy to 210 for the guys that played in there.
And he's seen this pair already a couple times today. He saw it in position round.
Yeah,
not that long ago. But a fresh application, once again, can really change things.
The good pairs, bad pairs changed a lot depending on who bowled there for the 10 or 15 minutes of practice and the players and whether they were using urethane or not using urethane when they came there later.
Butturff, first in the USBC Masters. The next PBA Tour title event was in Japan. He finished second at the DHC Japan Invitational. That's not a bad 3-tournament run that Butturff has going here. And he's got to do something on that lane.
Well, I mean, the good news for him is he's running the same thing that everybody's run into in the second game is a little bit of trouble getting the ball through the pins, but Stu's left him an opening to where he's still going to have a lead. And fortunately for Stu, he's not 40 down early.
No, and well, he's got the lead when he makes this. Because we've notated some spare shooting issues for Butturff this season.
See, the one thing when I bowl with Jakob is he makes all of his spares. He does. He makes
a personal against you.
Yeah. Well, no, he makes them all, but he never throws any strikes. I've won 3 times. He hasn't averaged 205 yet. If I'm 2 pairs away from him on tour, he misses a 7-pin every game for 250. And I don't get it.
Yeah.
So I'm his kryptonite, evidently. And
well, if all holds true, he should strike again in this left lane. And the light 6-9.
Well, if I'm Stu, there is some hope here. He can make a couple moves, figure something out here. He's going to have a chance. He's going to be pot committed to throwing it slow and around it. And so it's really going to be on him. Jacob's going to throw some strikes in here somewhere. But it doesn't look like 250 is probably, well, he's certainly not getting a 250 now because he doesn't have it left. But
I mean, that was a long conversation Stu just had with Jim Callahan from Storm. And I'm sure Jacob's going to be coming back and having a little talk with one of his EBI ball reps that's here.
Well, like all players, when you're in the step ladder, the intensity's ramped up and Stu is ramped up. And that conversation there is a lot about Stu getting off his chest, what's in his head, so he can get clear and commit to this shot right here.
Is that a ball change?
It is a ball change.
Ooh, flush.
And that was a handful. That was not rolling it. That was nothing. I'm going to throw it slow, and I'm going to get it. And watch how much this one comes off the back. But you also see there was no forward there. He sat on the shot and was able to get full leverage on that one, and that one made it back off the corner.
So Williams right back in the swing of things here. If you can solve this left lane. And that's real deep.
And real slow. And that's Stu's superpower, I guess, so to speak. I think everybody out on tour has at least one, and some of the great ones like Norm and Walt, they have a couple of them, but his speed versatility range is super high. Yeah. It's probably as high as anybody since maybe Doug Kent that could really play straight and really slow and go around it.
2 7-pins to this point, this game.
Ooh, that wiggled.
And that wasn't a real hard hit on the 10 to take it down either.
No, I mean, the result is much better, and you're happy about that. But that one you could visibly see pick up and then kind of broke loose and push down the lane again before it tipped just enough at the end to knock them down. The ones before did not do that, which is part of the reason why they flat 7. But that's a little disconcerting if I'm Jakob. Up by 5, a chance to extend it to 15.
Oh, ooh. Soul sucking ring 7.
Boy, that's one of his best shots of the game there. That's That's really bad luck.
What did the USBC say one time? You're a 16th of an inch either way from having that corner pin kick off the wall.
Yeah, you're less than a half an inch away from perfect right there. It's a tough thing to move at 60 feet to get your ball to be a half inch different. So technically, it's not luck, but for the best players in the world, you need that shot that's that close to flush. You need that one to strike. So that generally calls for an angle change or some kind of move.
Stu's going to take a little extra time, no doubt here. Just as you said, calm everything down.
Everything at this point is going to be slow.
It's easy off the hand. That's 7 and 9. Teased him for a second there.
Yeah, and that's a tricky combination. It's something that not a lot of guys can do. You can be really aggressive at the bottom, or you can throw it slow. You know, the key to throwing it that slow, though, is basically having footwork and either covering not very much distance in the same amount of time as usual, which means moving up in the approach, or your whole tempo has to just be very methodical. And one of the things about Stu's unique follow-through is how far it goes or doesn't go has a lot to do with, even though it doesn't go very high, if it extends out versus short, that's one of the ways he really affects his ball speed.
And Stu's got his wife Tina and son Brody both here in the crowd watching in person today. Likes it. Oh, the 6 doesn't do the job on the 10.
Just a touch firmer. It's really nitpicking because you're really talking about maybe 0.2 miles an hour faster. It's not like it was a half a mile an hour. This is really close.
That 6-pin went like 90 degrees right into the flat cutter.
Yeah. And this is not a place where you get a ton of extra hits. It's one of the things that makes it, its own challenge is that you can get it going here for sure, but you can flat 10. Like we're seeing some of the guys with the highest rev rates in the world, flat 10 and half 7 and leave some things that they really don't see very often.
Well, this is down. You knew a match like this is going to be coming down to the 10th frame most likely, and he's got a good chance of it here.
Well, that was terrible. To be honest, that was not anything close to what he was trying to do. He missed him, but one of the things it also does is his hand rotates differently off that shot, and so he didn't catch it as much at the bottom, and it netted out. Not at 0, but he got away with one there. Big opportunity. Down 4 pins, he can take the lead.
Yeah, max 228 for Butturff. Max for Stu 222. Doesn't stare at it. Wow. I thought he didn't like it as soon as with the body English, and then he just stared it down.
Oh no, he didn't. He threw that one well left, and then caught an absolute mittful. It was about as opposite of the shot before it as you could throw. Again, he netted out the differences in what he did direction-wise with his hand, but those two, I think he would like to have that one back. He had a chance right there.
And now Stu's got the chance.
Yeah, you mentioned that his wife and son, Brady, were here, and Stu's mom and dad are also here. They came out for the Weber Cup, flew in from England, and came to Lubbock from Las Vegas to watch, and a chance to watch their son. If he can throw 3 strikes here, the 9th, 10th, and 11th, watch him win a title.
Yeah. Foundation frame.
Gotta go.
Oh, it went. Wow, did that go. I was thinking light when I saw it going down lane.
Yeah, we got blocked off, same as you, obviously, and he got that one going a little to the right, but his touch was really good on that one. It picked up off of where EJ and those guys were earlier and actually overhooked. So, very similar to what Jakob did just a frame ago. So, well, here it is, up by 4. Strike 7 spare will close this out.
You see him talking to himself right there, and you know the motto right now is keep it slow, keep it firm. I mean, you can't be tentative with it.
Yeah, be aggressive and stay slow. Slow is going to be the thing. His hand it will catch it every time. Huge shot here.
He's watching it down. He knows it's going to be late. Wow. He knew that was going to break late.
Yeah, he didn't catch it the same at the bottom that time. It's so hard when you have a shot like that overhooks a little bit. Everything in your body says, that's not the shot I want to throw again. Still has a chance here. Makes a spare.
Got a chance. Oh.
Ooh.
Oh. Hold on. It's still rolling. Not enough, though, to get to the 610. That's going to leave him at 188.
The second pin there is big.
Because Butturff,
it's not as big as it has to be, but it does make him mark.
Right. Jakob goes 9 out. It would be 186 and not enough. Could he be a 2-time winner in Lubbock? He got the 8 to go, but the 6 still stands.
That was close to being a mess right there.
And he knows it, and he's there, and now he's got to keep it on the lane. And for the second time in 4 years, Jakob Butturff will be a champion in Lubbock, Texas.
As long as he doesn't paint it here, we're okay. Nowhere close.
And there is your winner, Chris. Thanks for joining us in the booth. I know you're going to give a nice quick interview with Jakob Butturff here. We'll be back with an interview in just a moment.
So that shot that went down there at the end, did you think it was going to strike?
My goal was just to not split nor leave a set. I mean, I was perfect on 7 pins this whole weekend, but goal to not leave one of those and just not split. So.
Well, once again, congratulations on winning once again here in Lubbock. Our 2019 Lubbock Sports Open champion, Jakob Butturff.